Hello, Travy here, and today I am going to be reporting on the Planetary Qualifier that was held by Cards of Ruin in Utah. So, in the United States, if you're not in the United States and you don't know where Utah is, it's in the United States. Anyways, I got 17th with a record of 5-7. And today we're going to go over some lists. They haven't finalized the standings, but we know who won and we know who got second place and top four and everything. So I'm going to go over it all with you. And I'm also going to show you the deck that I chose to bring. There were 87 players in this event. So we played 7 rounds of Swiss. This is the deck I chose to bring. And I was playing Kylo 5 Tarkin Town, but unfortunately only for about a week, which is not even close to enough time. And that deck does feel very powerful, and I completely dismissed that deck after Galactics because there were a couple reasons. One, I didn't want to try to learn that deck just in case Force Throw got banned, because I knew if that deck survived Force Throw, it could possibly evolve into something completely different, so I didn't want to spend any time doing that until I knew Force Throw was safe. And then the other thing was Aggrieved Parliamentarian. I really thought that Aggrieved Parliamentarian was just kind of like an auto kill button for the deck, for the Kylo 5 Tarkin Town. And so those two reasons like basically made me kind of forget that I even wanted to try that deck at all. Eventually Force Throw didn't get banned. And also eventually I learned that Aggrieved Parliamentarian is very strong, but you kind of gotta be killing them fast and then using the Parliamentarian to make it so that they can't just suddenly kill you and then you can just win the game in like a turn or two. And Aggrieved Parliamentarian is probably better against the green Kylo 5 decks because they have less upgrades, and so if you shuffle them to the bottom, the chances of them getting more upgrades into the discard pile by the time they want to flip or in a way that gives them enough value is much lower. But against the Kylo 5 Tarkin Town, it isn't that insane. It is strong, but it's not that insane. And so finally I tried it and it was really good and I was feeling really good about it. And then even the night before I submitted my deck list and then I played a few more games and the Boba 4 Data Vault matchup was just pretty brutal for me personally with whatever limited experience I had on it. And then I also played against Iden Data Vault, and they milled my Mahdi. And I was just like, okay, you know what? I think even though I had great experiences with the deck against Data Vaults, in particular Iden Data Vaults, but they milled my Mahdi, which was upsetting. So I was like, you know what? I am far more comfortable with Anakin Blue ever since Galactics. Like, so I'm not sure if I exactly reported on it from Galactics because it has been a long time since I've made a video and I do apologize for that. But I did play Han 2 Blue Force at Galactics. And basically since then, I've probably played close to 0 games on Han 2 Blue. Because after Galactics, I started just exploring a lot of different decks. There's so many fun and cool decks to play. Yeah. I've just been playing so many things, and I also brewed up a really spicy deck that's really crazy. It's actually, I feel like it's quite strong, but its matchup spread is not as great as I'd like. But I think I'll still probably make a video on that deck. Maybe that one will come out the day after this one comes out. We will see. But Anakin, why Anakin? Well, one main reason is I follow Chris Schultz, otherwise known as Rodney Stubbs, who's a Bothan Network member who has been playing Ray 2 Tarkin Town for a million years. And I was also a Ray 2 Tarkin Town enjoyer, and Yeah, I enjoyed that deck. And, once we got all the force units, I just been following Chris, and he's been updating his list a lot, trying lots of stuff, and I just been kind of following along, trying alongside him as well. And he eventually mentioned, Post Galactics mentioned that Anakin's ability just really lines up well in the current meta with the units that you want to play and the units your opponents want to play. So many things just line up with your Anakins and your Lukes being able to kill your opponent's Anakins and Lukes and survive. Your 2/4s being able to kill your opponent's 2/4s and live. And even now with some adaptations with, for example, I've got triple Marin and triple Cassian in here now too. And those are so that, in my opinion, for the Quinlan matchup a bit, because we still need to reach some 5 HP thresholds against Quinlan, and there's a few other meta-relevant units, and Cassian and Marin can do that really well. Marin also helps feed into our Anakin unit plan of, potentially discarding a Force Lightning or a Power of the Dark Side. But also, in this deck, you'll notice we don't have any 5-drops, but that's because Force Lightning and Power of the Dark Side are essentially 5-drops for us because of playing them out of aspect and, trying to get some utility out of Force Lightning. You got to pay more than 3 resources for it. So those are typically the 5-resource play, and that conveniently curves into playing the Anakin unit. And so the deck, just playing it, had been feeling really strong. The other really nice thing about this is that it doesn't fold to space aggro, particularly Darth Vader pilot, because the Jedi Starfighters, the 1/4 that on attack can deal 1 damage to a space unit, also can get pumped by Anakin. It can kill Millennium Falcons, Victor Leaders. It can kill 3 HP spaceships and kill a token spaceship at the same time. It's just a super strong unit. And so, yeah, the deck feels so comfy. And the other thing that I like in it too, there's lots of different ways you can tweak it, is I enjoy Pillage so much. And it's that's another 5-resource play. Playing Pillage and then playing Force Throw is another combo that I really like. And oh my goodness, yeah, I just love the deck. Of course, Ki-Adi-Mundi, insanely powerful. And the other adaptation that we have in here now is Owens. Owens weren't in here for a while, but I kind of just believed they were good. They're also pretty good against Boba 4 Data Vault, because you can soak the damage onto the Owen, and then the Owen also restoring you 2 each turn, and if they kill it, then it can find your Ki-Adi-Mundis, and then that can start your Ki-Adi-Mundi loop. And it can find your Anakins that can help you kill 2 spaceships or a big spaceship or just really anything. So Owen's been awesome too. And the other thing that's awesome is Anakin can pump Owen for 2 power, and Owen immediately offsets that 2 damage you take from Anakin's ability. I'm pretty sure I had Owen kill a Kira leader and have Owen kill a Cad Bane leader this weekend with the Anakin pump. So super awesome stuff. This list is going to also look pretty similar to, I don't know how to say their name. It's like DI-Fi or something. I think they won a PQ in the past couple of weeks, and then they got second place in a back-to-back PQ essentially. So they won one, and then the next week they got second place with basically the same deck. And that is where I got my confidence to run more than 50 cards, because I really wanted to get a few more cards in here and leave the sideboard a little bit more open. And so this deck is 54 cards. So I know DI-Fi took it to 53. And I decided to just take it one step further with 54 because I wanted to get a second Rivals Fall in the main. And I have seen some people take a Fell the Dragon out for the Rivals Fall instead, but I still wanted the second Fell. Kind of my justification was if I'm going above 50, especially like going above 51, in order to get an extra copy of a card in there, you know, I don't want to do that at the cost of taking a card out that I also still want copies of, because then I'm going to see that other card less. And granted, no matter what, like increasing my deck count is going to make me see any number of cards less. By essentially, how do I say this most efficiently? Probably if this deck was going to be 50 cards, what I would do is I'd probably have to cut a Cassian. I'd probably have to cut an Entrenched. And I'd probably have to cut a Rivals Fall or a Crate Dragon or a Force Lightning or a Fell the Dragon. And I don't want less copies of any of those cards. Personally, I can understand that this could just be incorrect, but if I only have one Crate Dragon in my deck and it gets milled, or I draw it in my opening hand and I have to resource it, then I have no Crate Dragons in my deck. I just cannot draw a Crate Dragon. And the math on the villainy cards is to create a higher chance of being able to play the Anakin unit on the 6 resource for full power, so I don't want less copies of those. The other reason that I want 2 Rivals Fall is because I knew that some powerful friends of mine were going to be taking Kylo 5 Tarkin Town, and I especially wanted more main deck answers to take care of Kylo, you know, especially in the worst case scenario that they pillage Force throw me and then they see that I discarded a Rivals Fall and then they just think I'd have no more Rivals Falls in my deck. So those are some of the justifications. Other than that, nothing too crazy to note here. The entrenches were great, and there was a couple times where I just had to entrench my own Anakin to kill ground units. I entrenched a Relentless this weekend and basically made them have to the point where they had to just super laser blast themselves. Cassian, triple Cassian was amazing all weekend. There were multiple games where I smuggled all 3 Cassians. Cassian, yeah, all-star. Marin was also an all-star. I don't think I can drop those cards below. Maybe I could go to 2 Cassian, but I don't think I'm going to go to less than 3 Marin in here, because with the Anakin pump, there's so many crazy things you can do with Marin. You can kill a 4 HP unit and a 2 HP unit. The 2 HP unit could be in space. You can kill a 6 HP unit. It's just, you can pop a shield and kill a Darth Tyrannus. There's so many awesome uses of Marin in this deck, and so I think Marin's staying. And then, like I mentioned before, Owen just can kind of start the Ki-Adi-Mundi loop. If you haven't seen Ki-Adi-Mundi yet, Owen can get you to the Ki-Adi-Mundi, so that Ki-Adi-Mundi can get you to your other Ki-Adi-Mundis, and you just keep going with infinite gas. So, loved all of it. Loved both Crate Dragons. Probably could have used a 3rd Crate Dragon, honestly. Not in the main. But the side was great. The Sabines in the side are mostly to swap out for the Jedi Starfighters in matchups where I don't need the Jedi Starfighters. And honestly, most of the weekend was me taking 3 Jedi Starfighters out and putting in 2 Sabine and the 3rd Pillage. That's just what most of my matchups ended up needing. And anyways, wonderful deck. Thanks to everyone who's been performing well with Anakin decks, and also thanks to Chris Schultz for continuously and relentlessly refining the Anakin list. And yeah, 54 cards. Crazy. Wow. Can you believe that we are this far in and I've only talked about my list? Rest in peace. All right, let's get to the planetary qualifier results. So I was 17th. I went 5-2, and I can go over my matchups later because you're probably gonna want some of this other stuff. Okay, this was the finalist of this Utah PQ that happened yesterday. Second place here. This person is also looks like they have gained inspiration from DI5's list, I believe. It's extremely close to mine. They were able to take 2 cards out of it, and it's literally my list, but with 2 less cards, and those 2 less cards are Force Lightning and Fell the Dragon. It's literally my same exact list, but I have an extra Fell the Dragon and an extra Force Lightning in the main. And they got second place, so there we go. In the side, our side is also similar. The main differences are they've put their second Fell the Dragon in the side, so it's not in the main. We both had 2 bombing runs. We both had 2 Sabines. They had Fang Fighters while I had Confiscates. And then they have 2 Parliamentarians and a Redemption, while I opted for a top target, another Entrenched, another Turret, and another Pillage. So, super strong deck, and their matchups, they just 5-0'd. They went undefeated for 5 rounds and then just drew the last 2 and got into the top 8. And yeah, they beat multiple Quinlans, 2 Quinlans, one of which a teammate of mine. And they beat Boba Data Vault, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Grand Admiral Thrawn. And then they beat another Quinlan in top 8, which was Sky Stroller here on a Quinlan. And then they beat a Mother Talzin as well. So, strong list here. All right. Next, let's go to the winner and a fellow teammate of mine, Doc, this otherwise known as Matt Freed. This is the finalist of the Denver sectional back in April, where he decided to play Jango Fett for 4 days and almost win a sectional. But this time, basically since Galactics, I believe, Matt has been playing a million variants of Mother Talzin, continuously iterating it, playing many hours a day. I'm sure he's probably in for like 2 weeks after Galactics, he's probably played this deck more in 2 weeks than I've played any Star Wars since Galactics. And he's been every time I've seen him, different cards have been showing up in his list. And he you'll notice in here, he's completely taken out the Anakin unit package. He's been trying Mystic Reflections, Kiadi Mundis, lots of different stuff, and ultimately decided to abandon the Anakin unit package. You'll also notice that there's no Devastators in here. Just decided, nope, not going to go that far, not going to do it. But he did put in 2 Ruthless Raiders. He's also managed to squeeze in a single Lom Pike, a single Old Daka. Also has 2 Disabling Fang Fighters in the main. Still has 2 Hotshot Blaster and an Arm to the Teeth for some smuggle. And then basically, what he was telling me is he basically abandoned the 3-drop slot outside of the Grand Inquisitor. He decided there's just so, especially with Krennic, there's so many plays you can make on turn 2 that you just really don't need more 3-drops. You can just play 2s and play a 1, or you can power the dark side, or you can Force Lightning, or you can just put a Hotshot Blaster on something from hand and then play a 2-drop. So these are his words, not mine. But here he went. His tournament path was losing the first round of Swiss and then just winning out all the way to the end and then just being able to draw that last round. And then what was Legendary Bard? And Levi was the Gar Saxon Yellow, and then Mike was the Anakin, and Legendary Bard was the Darth Vader pilot right here. So solid tournament path here. He beat a variety of decks. Is it like a unique deck for every single one? Oh, except the I mean, I guess he drew with the Boba Data Vault then, but Boba Data Vault, that he did lose to initially. And then Darth Vader, Quinlan, Han Solo blue, or Han 2, Admiral Piet red, and then Kylo Tarkintown, which was another fellow teammate of mine, and then drew against the Boba Data Vault. So pretty wild list here. Oh, and he also has the Owens in here too. That's the other thing too. He said he also was enjoying the Owen a ton as well. And you can also, Owen's another thing that you can do turn 1. You can Krennic into Owen turn 1 as well. So yeah, he also mentioned the way that he also has force chokes in here too. That's right. He's got force chokes in here. He says he paying 1 to deal with a turret just feels really good, even though you don't want to give your opponent a card. He said he really enjoyed that. And then he said that he has the direct hits in the side. So when he plays against the space decks, he basically curated his side deck to be like really easy siding choices. So you play against the space decks, while you take force choke out, you put direct hit in. And against the Han 2 blues, he puts in the Purge Troopers and the Regional Governors. And, as, the Swoop Racers have mentioned before, and, took 2 Galactics, the Purge Troopers in the main against the Han 2 blue meta were very strong. And so Matt's got them here in the side for the Han 2 blue matchups whenever they show up. And then, of course, some aggrieved parliamentarians in there, which we know the Kylo 5 Tarkintown is out and about. You'll also notice he's got turrets in here. A lot of Talzin players haven't been playing turrets, or have been playing maybe 1 turret. But yeah, he has 9 4-drops in here. He loves the 4-drops. So this is Matt's list. All right, next we're going to go to another teammate of mine getting in top 4, also on Mother Talzin, also a just kind of different Mother Talzin here. Connor here. One of the first things I noticed is Connor has triple Devastator in the main and a triple Ruthless Raider in the main. Over here, Matt just has 2 Raiders in the main. He still has the Sun as some top end as well, but kind of going a little bit of an opposite approach. Connor over here, triple Devastator, triple Ruthless Raider in here, and then also has 2 Ki-Adi-Mundis in the main and has 2 Marins in the main. So kind of going for a longer Talzin game, especially, and also having triple Anakin unit in the main as well. So both of them kind of trying to do a little bit of a different thing. It looks like Connor has a lot of the familiar sideboard package that we've seen in some Talzins, with some Champs and Duelos, some Crate Dragons, and like a Planetary Bombardment. And then also not wanting to lose any points into Sabine, having Churret in the side as well. So Connor also playing well, doing a really excellent job this day as well. In Swiss, looks like he only dropped 1 game to a Quinlan. And yeah, beat Boba Data Vault, Grand Admiral Thrawn, the first set 1 Thrawn, Shadow Under City, a Leia Organa Lake Country, and an Emperor Palpatine. Sheesh, 2-0'd Emperor Palpatine. And also 2-0'd a Chancellor Palpatine. Crazy. I mean, he's got crates in the side, and he has so many Ruthless Raiders and Devastators. So that's epic. Very cool. Well done, Connor. Next, we have the other top 4 placement here with Levi on a Gar Saxon yellow. Has some sneak attacks and a legacy run in here. It basically looking like a kind of like a space aggro deck, kind of what the Gar Saxon stuff does with its shields. 2 Change of the Heart in the side, some covert strength in the side, also outmaneuver in the side. Very interesting. Got all the pumps here with Snapshot, Hot Shot, Surprise Strike, and Breaking In. Triple No Good to Me Dead as well. Really cool. Rounding out let's go into the top 8. We've got Legendary Bard here on the Vader Pilot yellow. Nothing in here is screaming super brand new to me. It does look like they've implemented the Soulless one and outmaneuver in the main deck that we've seen some people doing for the last few weeks, and then also the triple scimitar in the side to kind of be the counter side to anybody playing bombing runs. Also, stolen AT haulers in the side, I suppose, for whenever they play against non-blue decks. They're like, yeah, they feel more comfortable putting those in the main. Yeah, standard stuff. Next, we do have a Boba Data Vault in the top 8. This one is opting for the package that has the Vader pilot in it as well. And it looks like no invisible hands in this one. This is not an invisible hand version. This one is also 61 cards. And something that's confusing to me that I did see this earlier is, I don't know how there's 61 cards in here, but there's not 3 Fetz Fire Sprays. Whenever at least on the receiving end, whenever somebody puts a Fetz Fire Spray down against me and they're playing Boba Data Vault, I'm just in pain every single time. So, but they decided 2 of those is enough, but they've got the triple Stormtrooper, 2 Vaders. They also have a Confederate Tri-Fighter in here, the one that makes it so bases can't heal. They also have the salvage in the main as well. And this looks like some more anti-control stuff, and then like a force chokes for anti-Sabine. Yeah, looks pretty good. And next we've got Sky Stroller on Quinlan Voss. This is another fellow teammate of mine. I'm so stoked he got into top 8 here. Well done. Looks pretty standard to me. I know I've seen some Quinlans only have 2 Millennium Falcon in the main and 1 in the side. But when you look at all the cards in the side and you look at all the cards in the main, you pretty much just say, yep, yep, that makes sense. Yep. Yeah. I don't know is there anything else I can say here? Oh, yeah, looks good. And then the last here is Corey on a Kylo 5 Tarkin Town. This is also looking very similar to, I'm pretty sure most people are just playing Frank from the Bothan Networks list from like a couple of weeks ago. That's what I was essentially playing. It just looks good. The main deck is just so insanely tight. I just really don't even know how much better it could get. There's tiny decisions you can make. I know, for example, in here, it looks like Corey decided to get 3 Force Lightnings in the main and took 1 of the Fallen Lightsabers out of the deck. And did this to, seems like, fit some number of aggrieved parliamentarians in the side. Otherwise, the side and the main all essentially look like Frank's list from a few weeks ago. But once again, well done to all of these players. Whew. All right, so let's see. What if I was gonna? Oh, there's another list I want to show you. Hopefully you're not gone. Hopefully you're not gone yet. I know this is a long video, but another couple cool things that I wanted to show you in here, because sometimes you got to make sure you don't just look at the winners list and you don't just look at top 8, but you got to look at a lot of the people who had similar records. Okay, because sometimes you're gonna find some cool stuff in there from people who just barely didn't make it because of tiebreakers or whatnot, you know? So some stuff I wanted to show you is we're going to show you this modulated Pikachu list, and then we're also going to show you Skylar and... Oh, I'm sure Skylar and Brenner have the same list. These are 2 friends who they are absolute control enjoyers. I don't think I've ever seen them play something that doesn't have blue villainy cards in it. This is not to shame them. I love blue villainy cards. I also love playing control. So, and I did end up losing a match to Skylar here. Really close game. I almost had him in game 3, pillaged his whole hand, had a Crate Dragon on the board, but he snuck it away from me. And that's okay. But let's go over modulated Pikachu's list here, because I played against somebody in this event playing almost this same exact list, possibly the same exact list because it was also 51 cards. This deck list was pretty cool. This is the set 4 Grand Admiral Thrawn with a yellow Force base. And this list is playing Krennic, Owen, Karis, Night Sister Warrior, all of the, like, you know, value generating stuff, the energy cheat stuff or resource cheat stuff. And then triple bamboozles in here to fully power the Anakin unit. Also has a pair of the Sun, and it also has a couple Darth Tyrannus in here to take advantage of the Force. And that's really their Force payoffs. That's the only reason that they've got the Force base here, other than in the sideboard. They do have Liberated by Darkness, which is the change of heart, but you have to spend the Force. So pretty interesting stuff in here. But one of the reasons I wanted to call this out was the Morgan Elsbeth. This is something I did not catch. I have, like, when Legacy Run and all that got spoiled, I did look at some Thrawn 4 yellow stuff because I was like, wow, I would love to double trigger the Legacy Run. What's really cool in here is, obviously we all know you play the Legacy Run and then the turn after you can play the new Chimera and, you know, get that Legacy Run triggered. But something I never thought about before until I saw this list was that they could play Morgan Elsbeth on the 4 resource, and then on the 5 resource have their first action be playing a Legacy Run, and then they can immediately after that attack with Morgan Elsbeth to destroy the Legacy Run, draw a card, and then double trigger the ability with Thrawn to do 12 damage however they like on their opponent's board. I think that's super cool. So yeah. Anyways, and Modulated Pikachu here also had a solid record. They were also 5-2. And their only losses were to people in the top 8. They are in the top 4. They lost to the finalist in round 1, and then they lost to Connor. Oh wait. Oh, sorry. I thought this was my teammate Connor. This is a different Connor. But they lost to an Emperor Palpatine. Crazy. So next, let's check out. I haven't even seen this list other than seeing it played in 3 games. But we've got Skylar's list on Chancellor Palpatine, Colossus. Okay. This is the thing that made me sad too, that I wasn't able to get this, is the fact that he was on Colossus and I had 2 pillage in my main and a pillage in the side, and deleting his hand to 0 twice wasn't good enough in game 3. But anyways, here we go. I also really want to play this deck someday too. I've played it here and there, but man, maybe I'll bring it to a tournament. They managed to get it down to 50 cards. I know that at the last Utah PQ, Brenner got into top 4, possibly. I think he got into top 4 with a 55 card version of this. But here they have a 50 card list. You'll notice there's no Avengers. Nothing that big. They really are just doing the Sheehan, Flurry, Anakin, Vader stuff. And then they've got a couple Lukes in here. And triple Laser Blast and Restock. So it really looks like they do, and not even 3 Vigilance in the main, too, which is crazy here too. Only 2 Vigilance in the main, but has got the Restock. Really looks like that they are just trying to just draw their deck and 2-for-1 or 3-for-1 you as much as they can with Anakin, with Vader, with Super Laser Blast, and just dwindle you down to nothing, and then they can just restock themselves into, you know, Super Laser Blast Vigilance and like a Luke or whatever. Or if they really feel like they need to restock a Sheehan, Flurry, and a Vader or something. And then you just die. There was one, was it game 1? Yeah, game 1 literally did go to that. It literally did. And he only vigilanced me once. I think. No, he vigilanced me a second time, but I only had 3 cards left in my deck. But yeah, and then Super Laser Blast, and then I was dead. So yeah, but you do see they do have the triple Bounty Hunter crew. They've got the 3rd Vigilance, an extra restock in the side, and even a tech in the side. And then they have a little bit of some anti-space with the Fireball here. So pretty wild, and they both did really well. I believe they were both in top 16, right next to each other. Yep, 14 and 15. So yeah, good job on piloting a Chancellor deck pretty well here. So, and man, Christine top 16. So many teammates so close this time, but we didn't secure it. Except we did get Doc, Connor, and Sky Stroller in the top 8 here. Super cool. Sheesh. Okay, that's not too bad. This video is a little bit longer, a little bit shorter than some Thork videos, but though Thork is usually going over all of the SWU base, a lot more data and stuff, and I thank him for it. All right, friends, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for checking out this video, and if you made it all the way to the end, leave a comment with 3630, so I know that you made it all the way up here. Whew, I think I'll probably play an Anakin again in 2 weeks. I got another PQ in 2 weeks. I really did want to play the Kylo 5 Tarkentown, but Anakin felt so good yesterday. Even though I didn't get into the top cut, the 2 games that I lost were definitely winnable, and the deck just it felt so good all day long. So good. Okay. See you next time.